Hi, welcome back to My Messy Fingers. This is Charlie. All right, this is what I've decided I'm going to do with this collection. I know there is this wonderful image here of this face covered by a butterfly, and you got a lot of roses up here, but I wanted to do something just slightly different to change the appearance, and this is what I came up with. So I took the 12 by 12 of this image and I trimmed it from right to left because I wanted to get the word imagine, but I didn't want a whole bunch of that face in there. And then I used the opposite corner of this image here for my spine piece. And in fact, this is a part of the floral from the back side of the head. And then I used this piece here out of the 8x8 collection. Now, I have wider gaps here than I am used to, but I did not want to cut the gold so big. I wanted the gold. I've backed this in gold. Let me quit stuttering here. I backed this in gold, but I didn't want to see great big gold edges if I'm going to use some of the 8x8 papers. So from the outside, I do have a larger than I am used to leaving image, visual image all the way around, but I'm okay with it. It'll work. This is a soft pink. It's called Vellum White. It helps to pull out some of this soft pink that's inside this collection without it being pink. And then I'm using some ribbon that I have in my stash as my tie closure. I'm not doing anything with this piece. In the 8x8, I did pull out the sticker, backed it on some cardstock. I'm popping it up and I'm going to put it right here. And then I'm using the corner filigrees to finish this image, so when you turn the book or open the book, it has this image. Now, in this, there is this tree house. I went in and I cut around it. I didn't worry about all of these little tiny images. They're there. They're not bold enough for it to matter. So I just went in and I cut around the actual house of the image. I did back it on some firmer, lightweight chipboard, and then I put in my foam pop-ups, and this is going to be raised off the front. And then out of the 8x8 collection, there is a page of cards, your cutout cards. I'm trying to find it here real quick, and I'm not. There's a card that has this image on it, so I cut it out, and it's going to be down here across the bottom, as if this person just flew off of the platform down here at the bottom. I'm using a couple of the other brass elements that came with the collection from Scrap and Create. The roses spray came from Scrap and Create, and I'm not using all of them. I'm using just enough to close in this corner, and I've cut some of the stems. So I am going to first off slide this off, and then we're going to put the ribbon down. Use whatever color ribbon you want. I'm just going to slide these off because I don't want to lose my images yet. I'm going to have to tear it apart, but I want to get this on. Now this has a little bit of a ruffle frayed edge, so it might show. I hope it doesn't. Behind the paper is a little bit of a lump, but we'll see how that works out. But I thought it was kind of cute. All right, let's do the back first because it's going to be fairly quick and fairly easy. Again, I cut this to this, and here's where I have roughly my 1/8 of an edge, which is what I prefer. But when doing this the way I did, because otherwise I'm using 12 by 12 papers, but I want to use those on the pages. So we're going to line this up like so. So I end up with close to 1/4 of an inch all the way around. I'm going to tape this down. Because of the ribbon, I'm not going to glue it. Because I need to make sure that that ribbon is really secured in there. Again, if you prefer to use glue, that is entirely your prerogative. Everybody has their preference. Okay, where's my... There it is. I'm going to take this off. And then I'm going to run it about 1/4 of an inch. And it's going to be a bigger gap here because of this hinge. But again, it is what it is. If you want to use 12 by 12s and cut this closer, just keep in mind that you want to make sure that you have enough 12 by 12s. I don't know how many I'm going to be using. You want to make sure you've got enough 12 by 12s to complete this project. All right, let's glue this piece down. And now I'll look for my 1/8 of an inch edge. Oh, good, it doesn't show. By the time I get the layering on there, that worked out just nice. Okay, let's move to our spine piece. We're just going to move right along. This piece I cut to, it's obviously 8 inches, and I cut it to 2 3/8. I'm going to go ahead and glue this piece down. And then I'm going to balance it in here. Make sure I've got roughly the same. Do I need to move this down here just a bit? Okay. And I know what I forgot to do. Oh, I didn't do it on that one. Oh, well, it's down. There's not much I can do about it, but I'll catch this. I meant to ink. I already inked that. I'm using Tim Holtz Gathered Twigs. You can use whatever color you want to use. Now I'm going to attempt to glue that brass filigree on here. I ran out of glossy accents, so I'm going to use crackle. The same thing, it just dries with a crack in it, and you're not going to see it on the underside of this. Okay, let's break this open so I can get some glue out of there. All right, let's see if I can get this. There we go. I'm just kind of running it over the surface. Now, to encourage that to stay in place, I think that's going to be too small. I want to put a clamp on this. Hold on just a second. It's kind of a big clamp, but there. All right. That will work while I'm playing with this. All right. Okay, so let's, told you I'd take this apart. So we're going to add some tape to this. So again, I'm going to repeat that 1/4 inch. All right, so now this is going to be a little bit tricky. So when I cut this image out, it came up all across the bottom, and then I went right straight around. And you can see I've left some of the tips. They're just too intricate to cut. I did leave this. There's some images here. There's an image here, here. But you're not going to notice it by the time you get this sheet down. Now, I'm gluing this. I'm going to glue around the perimeter. I'm going to glue through the body, and then I'm going to come in and glue right on this edge. I want this to stay down once I get the other image put back in its place. I don't want the edges popping up. So now I'm going to grab this on the outside here, and then I'm going to trace along these edges. Now I want my 1/8 of an inch edge, and I'll be moving this while that glue is wet. Okay, we're good to go. All right. All right, let's put this back into place right away, because then we're going to be working around this image. Let me get on my, this is the boring part where I'm taking all this tape off. Stuff sticks to my fingers. It's like, come off there. All right, I'm just going to set this right back in place. And if you watch how level you are here, you should just be able to just drop it right back in there. And look at that. So now all these little images, like this man, you can still see him. There's the tips. The pipe is coming out. You're still seeing it all. Now I want to put this guy in, and I was thinking about putting him in here so it looked like he was coming off this platform. I have played with him in other places, but I don't want to cover this image, and I thought about maybe just putting it here over the house. You know, that's not too bad. Could do that, but then I'd have to take some of that off, which is no big deal. So if I put it here, I can tack that down, twist him a little bit so his feet aren't like right on the house, but that looks like that might be a better place than down here at the bottom. I'll put some glue where I pulled that pop-up off. Okay, so so there we go. Now the roses. You know, when you're placing floral, this is always the dilemma. How do you do it? This is the hot air balloon. I'm just going to fill this cavity full of this glue. And the hot air balloon is going to go up here. Okay, so now there are two ways you can place this. You can go this way so it comes off the page, or you can come this way so it comes in. And this is the way I've chosen to lay it. So I'm going to just tack some 3-in-1 beacon in a couple of strategic places. And then I'm going to come down here. All right. Now, the next dude I'm going to put down is this squirrely thing. Now, it's going to have to come up underneath here a little bit, because these are always hard to glue because there's no real glue surface. So I'm sticking him in here, and then as I add the flowers, it will secure that. And here's a rose, here's a bigger rose, and then there is this one. So these will all sit in here like so. I'm going to drop these down just a bit. I want this one up just a little bit higher. So we're going to put that in there. And then I'm going to squeeze this in here. And this is in here. Now I can, they're loosely in there, so I can kind of, ooh, look at that. Who is that that's sticking up? It's this one. Okay. So I was going to go like this. This is going to come down here to hide this cluster. And then I was going to take this butterfly. We can glue it right there, or we can put it down here at the bottom. But let's go ahead and let's get these glued in. I want to put ample glue. It'll hide underneath the roses because I want to make sure the stems have got some contact with the glue. So as the glue dries, then it will secure the stems. All right, now my butterfly. I could put it here, but it kind of hides. While I'm making the decision on what to do with that, I'm going to put this down because I should be able to unclamp that now. It should be stuck in there enough. Okay. There we go. Okay, still haven't just, you know, I kind of like the butterfly right where I planted it. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. So we're going to try this glue, see if this will commit to the paper. All right, so there we have it. I am hesitant to move anything yet until this dries, and I want to see if this glue here will dry. So I am going to call it good. There we have it. Just a little different front. We've protected the word image, and then we've elevated this with the flying man. We've got some brass items, continuation of the page through the spine, and then we've got this lovely set back here. So there you have it. I will see you then on the next one. Until then.